going to be a good one.
Hurts has been hurt. He had a concussion. His last full game as a starter, they take on the Steelers. He had close to 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. I just feel like they've shown that when they need to, they can get the pass game going. I'm trying to figure out, like, why don't we collectively, why aren't we all like not just you, not me, like, why aren't we all like, yeah, the Eagles are going to roll over the Rams, they're going to give the Lions hell, and they're going to go take on the Chiefs on the other side, or the Bills, or the Ravens. Like, I'm trying, is it like a lack of trust in, I'm not asking you, but like, is it like Jalen Hurts has something to prove? The guy who put up 500 yards in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs? Is it because they fell off last year and nobody still has an answer why? Like, why are we have is it a Sirianni thing? Like, why don't we don't question Goff like that? Is it, Goff runs the ball too. I'm wondering what the like hesitation is to go full Eagles.
You know, that's a good question,
Yeah,
Kay, and I really don't have the answer. I mean, I would probably say, you know, the Detroit Lions are a favorable team. Everyone loves the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I don't care who you talk to, if it's a 70-year-old, if it's a kid, they're all in for the Detroit Lions. They're just like the most liked team. The Philadelphia Eagles aren't the most liked team. I can tell you that right now. When I talk to my friends, when I talk to a fan, you know, yes, Philly fans love the Eagles, but when you talk to the guys outside of Philly, oh man, they absolutely hate the Eagles. So therefore, they're coming up with any excuse to take down the Eagles, why they're not going to win. And I feel like that's why everyone's on the bandwagon for Detroit, because everyone loves Detroit. So they're finding reasons why Detroit's going to win, and they don't want to bash them. Philly, on the opposite hand, a lot of people don't like the Eagles out there in this country. I think you might be
right. I literally think that might just be it, because there's no...
Let me talk my shit again.
What it do, what it do. This is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, CASSIUS Cliff. Before we get into this video, we're breaking down how we should definitely get a convincing win against the Los Angeles Rams tomorrow at home in the link. Please like, share, subscribe, as well as comment. It goes a long way. Thank you in advance. You heard Kay Adams pose a question, and you heard Gronk say the quiet part out loud. People hate us purely to hate us. There's a little thought process behind that, though. If you had a sister and you had to choose between her dating the bad boy, the boy that is a wild card, a guy that you can't really put your finger on, versus the guy that you know, this is a bookworm, this is a nerd, this is a guy, he's always in school, he's always studying, he's always working on these little projects at home, you're going to go with the safe guy more times than not. It is safe to bank on the Lions, a team that has never won the Super Bowl, and really a team that's never been, versus the team that is unconventional, the team that is breaking the NFL social norms when it comes to how to win games and really what is the most effective way to win games. It is very hard to make people understand in a passing league in the NFL today why a team is led by their run game and the defense, and the quarterback doesn't need to pass for over 150 yards and they still win. It makes it makes their head hurt. And I'm here to crank that shit up, because not only have y'all forgotten the plot, y'all forgot that it doesn't matter how it looks. Winning is all that matters. Whether or not you're throwing for 500 yards or you're running for 200. If you win the game, that's all everybody's going to remember. For how, like, maybe people don't remember this, but given that my team was in this game, I remembered Tom Brady's stats in that loss that he took against my Eagles. 505 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Bro, none of those yards matter at this point. I bet if you ask him today, he would trade more than half of that production for the win. Tom Brady is crazy like that. And really, he's one of those people that all that mattered in the end was winning the games. The numbers would be what they be. But in the end, the legacy is really told by the championships, not the numbers he put up. Because it's a very high likelihood that a guy like Pat Mahomes will surpass him in a lot of passing numbers. But when it comes to those rings, Tom Brady might reign supreme in the end, and he's gonna be considered to go because of that. Not because of the yards he threw for in the touchdown or the touchdowns he threw in the Super Bowl, but for the amount of Super Bowls that he's won as the quarterback at playing the most prolific and really the most challenging position in all of football. With that being said, let's take a quick glance at the injury report list, because there's nothing really to report here. There's nobody hurt. There's everybody that's supposed to be out there, aside from a guy like N'Kobe Dean and Brandon Graham, wishing them speedy recoveries, will not be out there. Everybody else is going to be out there ready to go, suited up at the link. And we're in a very favorable position. we're going against a team that we absolutely put boots to their ass just a couple weeks ago, and they're coming in, they're feeling really good about themselves. Being I feel like a very fraudulent team in the Minnesota Vikings. I think they've been sold a bill of goods that are just no good. They're thinking that they're a lot better than they think they're supposed to be, or they actually are in reality. And I think it's because I think they forgot. I think they forgot what we got on the defensive side of the ball, specifically to start off with. Jalen Carter, a second-team All-Pro. I mean, y'all had to double team this guy 15 out of 19 times on pass rush downs. And you think that these guys are ready for what's about to happen in the link? Even in a game that we forced multiple turnovers, and yet they didn't show up on the actual stat sheet, which is unfortunate. But this defensive effort by Jalen Carter, I mean, he's been doing this week in and week out, and it may not show up on the stat sheet again. But in a game in which we forced 3 forced fumbles, this is one of the few that, we had 3 forced fumbles, 1 recovered. These are one of the ones that was not recovered, unfortunately. But there's no denying what Jalen Carter does on a week-to-week basis. Offensive coordinators, offensive line coaches know his name very well. But a guy that we need to step up, and I think is going to have ample opportunities to do so, Axeman Jr., Jeremiah Trotter Jr., in his first game starting, going against Green Bay, going against the New York Giants. This is a guy that had 11 tackles in that matchup, showing up, flying around, making plays, and he's missing, I think, just 1 tackle that could have been a tackle for loss that would have absolutely stopped that drive. I think this guy's ready. Not only is he a guy that is instinctual, he has physical traits. I mean, he has the lineage, he has the pedigree for, his dad playing for the Eagles. I think he's actually a better option when it comes to coverage downs as a linebacker, and considered, what Oren Burks didn't do going against the Green Bay Packers. I think he was getting picked on a lot, and he was the sole weak link when it came to this pass defense last week going against the Packers. I do think Jeremiah Trotter has the skill set, being a somewhat undersized linebacker and having the skills to play better coverage for a linebacker, because our linebackers absolutely have to cover in this defense. And a guy that has to cover a lot and who has a tall task again is going to be Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean is going to have a huge task ahead of him going against a guy like Cooper Kupp as well as Puka Nacua. But he showed up in that last matchup. Not only did he have 2 pass breakups and 6 tackles, this entire defense allowed 0 conversions on 3rd down, with the Rams going 0 for 8. If you don't think this defense is ready, I mean, just look at the way we played them last time. I don't feel like they're going to be even more effective despite us not having Nakobe Dean or Brandon Graham. This defense is primed and ready, not only with the depth that we have the guys that have seen tough matchups throughout the entirety of the season. We've seen this team. We've seen a tough matchup when it came to the Commanders. I mean, I think a non-mobile quarterback is the best case scenario for this defense as the D-line. Because when we saw Matt Stafford last time, not only did we keep them under 300 yards for the entirety of the game, 5 sacks, 8 tackles for losses. Again, Nakobe Dean and Brandon Graham had pretty good games in that game, but they weren't the only ones that showed up to that party. Bud Williams was involved. Jalen Carter was involved. I mean, Nolan Smith is turning the corner. We know what the defense is. If not top 2, they're definitely number 1 in all of football. I'm not concerned with the defense. But even though I'm not concerned with the offense, there's definitely certain things I would like to see, not necessarily from Jalen Hurts, but from the offensive play calling, Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore, I swear to God, I'm going to say it right now. If this offense comes out flat, count your days, bro. Because not only are we don't show enough diversity in the pass game, because for this to be Jalen Hurts, and this is not necessarily at Kellen Moore's feet, but this is the first time in Jalen Hurts' career, last week, that he started to play under center, dropped back, no play action pass, and he actually threw the ball. That is the first and only time he's done that for the entirety of his career. And really and truly, when I was putting this video together, it was very difficult to find plays where we started and threw the ball from under center. Why is that the case? I really can't call that. But I know when I see him throw the ball from under center, it seems to be fairly routine and really easy to do. Whether or not it's a deep shot down the field, a pass over the middle, a pass outside the numbers, being a little more diverse in the pass game and really how we scheme our plays, I think is really the only thing that we need to improve on the offensive side of the ball. Because ultimately, when you got a running back like 2K say, Saquon Barkley, what is there to really worry about? especially given the fact we were moving that defensive line for the Rams. We were moving them along the line of scrimmage at will. How do I quantify that? One player getting almost 300 yards from scrimmage by himself and 255 yards on the ground. I mean, guys are getting thrown every which way possible. Guys getting thrown on their teammates when it comes to the Rams and their defenders. Like, they were never prepared for what we were going to bring to them in their own stadium. It's going to be even worse going against this run game and this offensive line at home in the snow. I mean, that is already primed for a run game and really for the offensive line to be dominant. But when you have a guy like Mekhi Becton, who was a forgotten guy for the New York Jets, converted from left tackle to right guard, the only guy that was not even named to an All-Pro or Pro Bowl team, but yet and still moving grown men very easily. That is what we have up front, and having a guy like Saquon Barkley in the backfield, I don't see how these guys are going to be competing with us for the majority of this game. I just don't see it. And when it comes down to it, man, I just don't think there's a scenario in which this game is close. Again, if this game is close, it's going to be because of the offense and because Kellen Moore is mailing it in because he's about to be coaching for the Cowboys very soon. I am a firm believer when it comes to coaches taking interviews in the middle of the playoffs that is counterproductive. It is malpractice. And really, Roger Goodell, you got to step in because the owners can't do anything. The head coach can't do anything. The GM can't do anything. It is really incumbent upon that head coach who's taking that interview to say, I'm going to wait. And since Kellen Moore doesn't have the wherewithal and the wisdom to say, you know what, I have bigger things to be concerned with, like a divisional playoff game. Let me take this interview afterwards because y'all not going anywhere. Why are we allowing this shit? We know what happened with Jonathan Gannon when it came to the Arizona Cardinals and him seemingly mailing in when it came to that defensive call game going against the Patriots. I'm not going to really say that's on him because that's still Pat Mahomes on the other side with Andy Reid. It was going to be tough to stop them regardless. But for this offense to come out flat going against these Rams, especially given the fact that was our most dominant offensive game of the season, there's no excuse. If this offense comes out flat, Kellen Moore, count your fucking days, I swear, bro. Because there's just no way. We're not diverse enough in the pass game. The run game is too effective against this team. There's no way in shape or form we should be competing with them going into the third quarter, especially offensive-wise. If they're in this game, it's because the defense is not doing their job. The offense should not be giving this team any issues. The offense should not be at the center of this team dragging their ass through this game. With that being said, I'm predicting a comfortable win, 28-10, if not 21-14. Philly in the link. I really think it's going to be that simple. If there's a chance in which Jalen is throwing the ball all over the yard and Saquon's doing his thing, it might be 31-10. It might be 34-10. But I'm going to say it respectfully, 28-14. Not, convincing win against a team that a lot of people think is dangerous and we got to watch out for. I don't see it. Maybe I need to get LASIK. I don't know, but I don't see what y'all see. With that being said, this is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. We out to the next one. Peace.